Has your partner, spouse, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend ever stopped you from getting a tool that you wanted? If so, follow these 507 steps and you will have that new tool within 7 to 8 months. Now, I just want to say up front, I am no longer certified by the Woodworking Psychology Board. I may have had my license pulled 2 to 3 years ago, but it was not over what you think. Lena and Jeremy didn't get invited to my barbecue, and they're on the board together, and they teamed up and they took my license away. Anyways, just understand this is not certified by the National Woodworking Psychology Association. They also said that telling patients to psychologically manipulate their partner was unethical, but you're going to need to be willing to do that. I just want to say up front, this is not a quick way to get a tool. So don't use this in emergencies. This is going to take multiple months of not psychological manipulation to eventually get to a spot where your partner essentially insists that you buy that tool. Now, a lot of these steps are going to need to be tailored to your situation and your partner. So fill in the blank for some of these with something that's relative to your partner. Just take my rough examples as guidance. Now, before we begin, I want to make two things clear. This is Operation New Tool. However, because we don't want to give our secrecy away, we'll be using the code name Sapwood. Every tactical mission has an actual name and then a cool tactical name. This is Sapwood. Like any good secret mission, we will also break this down into phases, and we will have cool little names for each phase. Phase 1, start small. The first thing we're going to need to do is identify some type of small holiday coming up within the next month or so. Think National Nurse Day, National Plumber Day, something like that. Nothing major, not Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, birthdays. We're saving those for later. Something small, something you normally don't celebrate, but that your partner is probably aware of based on where they work or someone they know. Now, don't mention this to them. What we want to do is surprise them with a small gift, flowers, some kind of dinner, maybe you go out and you buy a nice steak, whatever it is, keep this under $50 ideally. We don't want them thinking about the cost. We want them thinking that you thought of them and you got them a nice surprise gift. This is an early step and it's important to get this right. If you are unsure what to get that person, I highly suggest a large gummy worm, something 3 or so feet long, 4 inches in diameter. No one ever says no to that. So if you cannot think of anything, go on Amazon and get a gigantic gummy worm and start there. Having a nice little handwritten card will certainly help as well to go along with it. Now that you have completed Start Small, Phase 2, we will call Fun Dip. However, I do not own the rights to this name, so please do not sue me if you are the actual Fun Dip people. Over the next month or so, we're going to want to leave little hints and notes, not about the tool, but about how much you care about your partner. Do they take a lunch to work? Take a little post-it note and write a funny little joke on it. Leave something somewhere where they're going to find it, but they don't see it coming. Do this kind of randomly and occasionally. We don't want them expecting it, but we want it to where when they see it, they think of you and they think of you surprising them with these small little gifts of really bad but funny jokes. At this point, Fun Dip is complete. We're moving on to Phase 3, Listen Up. Now this is where it gets a little tough. We're going to need to identify that major holiday now. Birthday, Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, something people genuinely celebrate or expect some kind of gift from or something like that. The key here is not that you get them a gift, it's that getting them the right gift. This is going to require you to listen, and it's going to take a few months. So if Mother's Day is in a week, push it back, get the next birthday, the next Christmas, or whatever. It's very important you get them something that they've been dropping hints about, but they definitely wouldn't buy on their own, whether due to price or just never being decisive, and that you probably wouldn't think to buy for them because they don't think you listen to them. Now, this is what we call the spend money to make money method. You need to make sure that the gift you purchase for them is a little more expensive than whatever tool you want in the end. If the tool you want is $300, the gift you get for them needs to be over $300. Now, like I said, spend money to make money. At this point, we are now ready to commence Phase 4, Time to Choose. About 2 days after that holiday and the gift you got them and that they love and they can't believe you listened to them, You need to identify something in your house that needs to be built. This may be not the project you want to do, but you need to have a project that's built around something that they are also going to be interested in, whether this is a cabinet, a table, a chair, whatever it is. It needs to use the tool that you need to buy, but it doesn't have to be the project that you really want to do. We need something that they're going to be receptive to. It is at this point where you need to pick the tool you want. Now, some examples here. Let's say you need a router, something like that, and you've got a small table in your house, and it's okay, but your partner doesn't love the height or doesn't, whatever it is, it's a little annoying. One way to ensure that they really hate that thing is to slowly scoot it a few inches into the walking path, just a little bit at a time, and eventually they will clang their leg off of there. They will be very upset, and you will say, I can solve this problem. We just need to get a different table. And make sure you say get. Do not yet bring up the idea of building this, though of course it needs to be something you can build or at least can figure out how to build. Having successfully completed phase 4, we can move on to phase 5, free labor. After they are properly pissed at whatever this item is, you need to start dropping subtle hints over the next few weeks about replacing this. But those hints should involve things like how crazy expensive it is to buy a new one. Maybe if you guys share a computer, you occasionally leave up a tab open with an unbelievably expensive version. I'm talking, I don't know, wherever rich people shop. Leave that open and just say, oh, sorry, I was just looking at different options. When they see it and they ask you what it's about, we need them to realize replacing this thing could be extremely expensive. We are trying to prime the thought here that whatever the one you're going to build plus the tool cost is looks absolutely reasonable compared to buying it. If they ever bring up the price to you, you need to mention that labor is expensive, and doing the work, the labor, is what adds so much to the price. And make sure you remind them that you love woodworking as a hobby. You don't expect to be paid for what you do. Labor is expensive. Your labor is free. This has to be disguised, though, in a way that makes it seem like there's a difference between the amount of work done here and then the amount of money you'll need to spend. Phase 5 is now complete. Phase 6, boy, that would be expensive to buy, but I can make it. After firmly implanting in their mind that a replacement is expensive, you need to now begin dropping hints about how you think you could build it. Slowly over a course of weeks, start from I think I could to I absolutely could. And hey, look at this one, these plans or this photo. I can 100% build that thing, but do not ask them if you can build it yet. We want them to eventually believe that they want you to build this project, which can include purchasing your new tool. Phase 6 is now complete. Phase 7, I only need to buy one tool. After a couple weeks of you mentioning that you can definitely build this, we've built up to that point. You then need to start dropping hints about how cheap the materials are. Buying it crazy expensive. You're not paying labor. And look at this. This wood, a single board is only $80. Now, you don't say that it's going to take 20 boards, but you point out how cheap one piece is. They don't know what goes into it. Obviously, this is not going to work if your partner also happens to woodwork. So any of you, you're in a different problem. But if they don't, just start kind of pointing out how inexpensive a piece of wood can be. We're hitting the home stretch here, so buckle in if need be. Phase 7 is complete. Phase 8, it's their idea, as in, well, I said we could just buy it, but you said you wanted me to make it. We are now going to wait for them to naturally bring up at some point the idea of you building it. If you have followed the previous steps, this will happen. You then will say, well, I can definitely get the materials. That won't be a problem. And then you say, and I only need to buy one tool. Do not say it in a way of like, and I may need to buy another tool, or can I buy this tool? You say, and I only, which circles around the fact that there will be no other expenses other than materials in this tool. I only need to buy one tool. You are implying that it could be way more expensive should you need to buy many tools, but you only need to buy one single tool to do this. This is where a bit of how you performed earlier pays off. If you've done this correctly, you now have to play a bit of a waiting game for them eventually to say to you, hey, I want you to build this. It's okay to get that tool. If you've done everything correctly, there is a 90% chance, 60% of the time, that they will do this. If it doesn't work and this doesn't happen, step back, wait a couple months, and repeat these steps. You probably didn't find a project that they want built bad enough. Maybe you didn't move that table out far enough and them hitting their knee didn't hurt enough. Something like that. You may have to start over. That's okay. Phase 8 is now complete. Now, Phase 9 may not be for everyone, but some of you are going to need it. Phase 9 is Atlas. Not only have you possibly lost your way and you need to open up the map and find out where you're going, but this is the moment of the nuclear option, and we'll be using Atlas missiles to deliver the nuclear option should we need to do it. Phase 9, Atlas. If you have tried this multiple times and it's not working, consider something like proposing. If you aren't married yet, this would be a great time to propose and then talk about how for your wedding, you need to build this table. Or maybe, you're inviting your parents over to tell them the news and you wouldn't want them to knock their knee on this table. This is kind of the nuclear option. Obviously, we don't want to have to propose to get a new tool, but it's an option. Depending upon how strong your relationship is, if you are married, you could also threaten divorce. I don't recommend that, but that's an option. Congratulations, if you are on Phase 10, this has worked out for you. You've got your new tool, you're building the project that needs to be built. It may not be the one you wanted to build, that'll come next, but you're building the project that got this all started. However, in the final moments, you must continue and finish the plan. Remember, I didn't get a receipt, but not that you forgot the receipt, but the store. Eventually, they will come to you and they'll say, hey, I think I need you to build this. I think I need you to build this. Perfect. We've set it all up. There's a key part here. We are never going to disclose the total cost of this entire build. You are only going to disclose the cost of the tool, but you have to say that you got an amazing deal on it. It is very important that you got a good deal on it. I don't care if you actually did. You need to imply that it could have been so much more expensive had you not bought it right now. Of course, it's really going to help if you can actually build the project and do it well. Now, that's not required. Maybe you can't do it and finish it and it's not good, whatever. But you've got your new tool. That's what this video is about, acquiring a new tool. Ideally, you will provide a finished project at the end that is actually worthy of spending all of that. And again, hide the receipts for the material. Hopefully you don't share a bank account. If need be, open a second bank account to pay for the material. Well, there you have it. You have now acquired a new tool. And I just want to reiterate once again, I'm no longer board certified. If you have any complaints, please do not call the board. They are very mad at me as is, and I would like to get my license back at some point. So just complain in the comments below. Do not call the Woodworking Psychology Board of America. Operation Sapwood is, wait a minute, Operation New Tool, codename Sapwood, is now complete. Operation New Tool, which is codename Sapwood, is now complete. Thanks for joining me. Bye.